It's right here, Ray. It's looking at me.
He's an ugly little spud, isn't he?
I think he can hear you, Ray.
Okay, people, today let's take a quick look. Well, okay, it may not be a quick look. It is Deadpool and some X-related characters. So, an undisclosed amount of time to take a look at the Hasbro Marvel Legends Maximum Dupe with Deadpool. I ain't gonna lie, I'm kind of more excited about Dupe than I am Deadpool. Now, you know me. I love Deadpool. I have more than a few. Some of them are put away, some of them are in tubs, some of them are in display. I'm going to pull a few of them out to compare to this, but man, for some reason, when I saw this at the Toy Federation booth at Joe Lanta last weekend, I thought, okay, cool, but I want that. It just sends visions of X-Force and Ecstatics dancing in my head. I want to do all kinds of customs, or I want to beg and plead Hasbro. Come on, make some Ecstatics and 2001 X-Force. But at the same time, getting a new, upgraded, updated Deadpool doesn't hurt things either. So, looking at the package, it's what we've been seeing with all these Maximum releases. You know, all two. Marvel Legends logo, Maximum logo, a window showing most of what we get in here. Kind of an homage to the original Toy Biz Marvel Legends release. On the side, pretty promotional picture of Dupe. And there's the Marvel Legends logo. On the back, guess what? More of the same. More pretty promos, more logos, more legalese. Well, okay, that also lists what's included. Figure and 24 pieces. Why is Dupe missing his X logo on his belly in this picture? On the side, another image of the accessory, a little bit of window, Marvel Legends. On the top, Marvel Legends, Maximum Series. On bottom, legalese, barcode. Let's get this open, see what's going on here. Looking at the main character first, Dupe looks really, really good. Better than I was expecting, actually. I, of course, noticed it in the pictures, but this modeling to the skin, there's a slight texture to it, and then the use of the dark and the light greens, it gives it a lifelike quality. Well, as lifelike as a green spud can be. It gives it a natural feel, like this is actually skin. Have the bump sculpted up on top of the head with a slight dry brush to it to bring those out. The eyes bulging and the inkjet in there. It makes it feel realistic. And I know I keep saying that about this, but dang it, I can't help myself. Some pearly whites with just a hint of gum showing. Have the narrow arms coming down in a fixed position because I guess they didn't want to put a joint at the elbows. That would have been pretty sweet. And then the X logo, which besides the actual style of this dupe, puts it into X-Force settings, whereas the first dupe we got is Ecstatics. Notice the stylized X on it with the lightning bolt kind of coming down and the yellow and the red. They adopted that after the title changed to Ecstatics. It was originally X-Force. It was just a simple X. Completely different styles. This one's a bit plainer, flatter with the dark green, the eyes just painted in, but that was the artwork. This is what jumps to mind whenever I think of X-Force and Ecstatics. The size I'm not so sure about. If I remember right, Dupe's size was kind of all over the place depending on perspective and how the shots were laid out. So while my first impulse was to say, man, that is super tiny, I don't think so. I think it works within the context of this design, whereas this one is just fine looking like this. The original is a bit hollow, and then this one is more solid, which works into the joint situation, which we'll get to. Oh, something else I nearly forgot about. I feel like the X is painted off to the side a bit. When I first got it out, I thought, okay, looking to the right a bit. But when I square the shoulders from here to here and bring it forward, that would still be the center. And this seems to be off that. But if this shoulders were supposed to go here and turning, that would push this shoulder back, and that would be the front of the actual belly, because the sculpt from here, you can see, oh, okay, no, the flatness is right here. So maybe slightly to the left, but I can do a lot of things to justify its positioning, which surprises nobody, does it? Getting to the Deadpool accessory, I can definitely see why some people would say, oh, we already have this version of Deadpool. That's because a lot of the details do match up with a previous Deadpool we got in Marvel Legends. You have the metal buckles on the front and around the neck, and then the shin guards and the forearm guards, and the belt setup. The holster on this side, the pouches down on the leg, and then, oh, well, we don't have grenades on the new one, but the swords on the back. So yeah, both of these are based on the same general era of Deadpool, but beyond that, that's it. There are no reused parts between these two figures. While they both have forearm guards with straps around them, you can see that the new one is more defined, more refined. Same thing at the shin guards. It's not as torn up. It still has some wear and tear to it, but the shape is different, and then things don't stick out as much. And hell, they both have knife sheaths on the same side, on the right leg. Pouches around the leg with the holster towards the back. Again, same layout, but the old one had a lot of wrinkles to it. Different angle to the holster on the hip, but still has a pouch. The old one has an unpainted button though. Oh, the new one has painted buttons going around. No grenades on the left hip of the new one, but the pouches do go all the way around. Stay on camera, y'all. Come on, get in there. The old one stops in the middle. The new one just has a longer pouch for bigger things, for larger candy. It's not a huge difference in some of the limb sizes, like the legs. The biceps may be slightly bulkier, shoulder balls, similar, but when you get to the torso and the middle of the body, you can tell that the new one is thicker. Not in the sense of overpowering muscle, but filled out more, especially in the chesticles. The old Bucky Cap body was very defined and thinner, and putting them side by side, yeah, see, peckier. But on top of all that, literally, is the fact that the costume details are sculpted onto the new figure instead of just being painted on like the old one. Bucky Cap body, no grooves, nothing raised. It's just silver and black paint. New body, costume wrinkles in between the musculature. These silver things are raised up from the body along with the separation between red and black. There is a seam line sculpted running up the side of that. Same thing on the biceps. Ditto for the upper legs and hips. Even around the neck, the silver, the seam line, it's all sculpted on there. And now that we're closer, oh, there's even silver painted on these buckles on the straps. And on the buttons, on the pouches, on the... there too. But not here. I feel like that should have been silver too, just for continuity's sake. These buttons are painted down here on the back, although that one missed horribly. Crotch piece has a fly sculpted along with the line between the black and the red. Same thing on the buttocks. There are straps sculpted around, and then down on the foot, there's also two straps there. Should those be painted silver? Is that missing? Forgot about the head. Again, it's Deadpool. It's similar, but it is not the same sculpt. You have the sculpted seam running up and around the eye, and then coming down around to the back, and then the little... I do like that it's a symmetrical look. They could have went with some crazy winking or yelling, but we've gotten that before. This is just kind of classic Deadpool on a modernish design, but you know what I mean. I have noticed that the arms do not want to go down to the sides, and I don't think it's the straps. I think, well, it may be holding up right there, but the arms just do not want to stay down. The pegs coming from the shoulder down into the bicep are a bit gummy. When I first got it out of the package, ooh, this thing would bend way the hell out as the arm was coming up. So I'd be careful with that out of the package. Just kind of grip as close to that point as possible. That way you're not stressing that peg. Also the belt, as you can see, the ab crunch goes way down here. So with the belt being here, it does tend to push against you as you're trying to crunch down. If you take this and put it to here, it helps a little bit. But if you're wanting to also kick at the same time, that is gonna get kind of into there. Now don't get me wrong, you can still get into some pretty great poses. I mean, a drop down hip would probably help a little bit more than that, but probably not much. It's not bad at all, but the belt does seem to want to get in the way. Going over articulation, yes, there is articulation on Doop. There's a pin going out to the shoulder, allows rotation around, and then a hinge raises up to here. It's probably better to show it over here. Hinge up to here, rotates around. Out of the package, the rotation was a bit stuck. It felt more like flexing, but once it popped, it's been fine since. It just goes around and around. I do keep trying to grab the head and rotating it around because this dip feels like a perfect spot for a ball joint. So the head could have tilted and rotated and up and down and looked around and That's it. I've got no justification as to why they didn't do that, other than the shoulders are high. It may have run into the same spot. Still, would have been cool. For Deadpool, at the top of the neck, there is a dumbbell joint, and then there is a ball at the bottom of the neck. Can look up, can look down. So much tilt. Hey, where is Alex? I'd like to see him. Butterfly joint at the shoulder goes forward, goes way back. Pin coming out to the arm rotates all the way around, and then a hinge goes to there. Swivel at the bicep. Double elbow, not bad at all. Swivel at the wrist with a hinge that goes up and down on a gun hand that's just pointing, but hey, I'll take what I can get. Dumbbell joint mid-torso, which goes forward and back and tilt and rotation. And then there's a crunch at the bottom of the abs that take it a little further, forward and back. I almost expected a drop down hip in this since it's maximum, but there's not one there. I don't know, I'm back and forth. It depends on how good they're implemented. Anyway, ball going out to the hip, kicks to here, and then back and out. Swivel at the thigh, hidden by the pouches. Oh, not hidden on the left side. There you go. Double knee. Oh, if you do all kinds of bending. But that's also seriously flexing some of those joints, like the top of the boot. It's opening up, which obviously means there is a swivel at the top of the boot. Hinge at the ankle goes back, goes forward, forward-facing pin for rocker, and then a toe joint goes all the way up. For accessories, Doop comes with this stand, which I do believe we've seen before. Was it Headpool? Was it somebody else? Did I steal this from somebody else to give to Headpool? Either or, this allows you to float your Doop in your display. It would have been nifty to get a video camera to hold. In fact, this arm goes right up by the eye. It could have snapped around this fist if didn't want to give him a grip hand. Come on, 3D printers. Let's do this. For Wade, out of the package, there is a shooty finger right hand, and then on the left, there is a peace sign. But then there's a finger pointing left that has the thumb in more of a bent position than the right. A thumbs up right, a pair of fists, a pair of grips that have up and down hinges for some sword or knife wielding action. And then as Deadpool, you gotta have a set of trigger finger hands, and yes, those are also hinged up and down. Then we talked about the head. It's nice and symmetrical, good looking Deadpool head that pops right off, and you can put on a half unmasked head. And I'm gonna say that the inkjet here, it does its job, but you look too close and it does seem kind of smudgy. Almost like the paint and the sculpt details don't match up. And then the teeth being separated by that same process, it's cool, but it looks better back here. And it's not the same sculpt as the previous half unmasked head. That had its nose exposed and a lot more blemish to the skin. Moving to bladed weapons, there is this knife, which is reuse from previous Deadpool knives. There's just a little bit more paint there on the hilt. That can either go in any of the grip hands or store away in the sheath on the boot. Then there's these two swords that seem a bit short and stout. These are not reuse from the Deadpool that we've been looking at this whole time. Those are thinner and longer. We gotta go back to this Deadpool, or this Deadpool that came in a 2-pack with Bob with the added articulation here in the middle. You could almost call this maximum 90s Deadpool, and then this is maximum 2018 Deadpool or something. Same swords, and now that I look at the back, the sheaths on the back of the new maximum Deadpool are reuse. I didn't realize that. Not the straps going over the shoulders, just the sheaths on the back. In fact, that's the same on that 2-pack Deadpool. Same sheaths on the back, and those straps don't match this one either. Or this one. They're close, but no. Not a big deal to hold in the hands. It's grip hands. They are weapons. But they also store away nicely on the back. You know, like every other Deadpool with swords. And because I don't care for the size of the blades too much, they look better as hilts sticking out over the shoulders. I'll probably have this Deadpool holding more guns than blades. Thankfully, it comes with a few guns, like these 2 pistols. I am not sure if we've seen these before. There's so many pistols we've gotten in this line, but easy push and twist to hold, or can store away in the holster. There's 1, and there is 2. But it does look like Is that going to get in the way of articulation as it goes? Not any more than the belt does already. There's this rifle, and I do not know guns. I don't know the name of this, and I'm not quite sure we've seen this in Marvel Legends before. I don't recognize it from anywhere, but there's a nice little paint app to these wraps on the stock, some brown, some plastic black. And it does have a blast effect that plugs into the barrel. There's also this M60? Very, very similar to the gun we got with the G.I. Joe Classified Series Rock and Roll. Same general shape, same general details, but you get down to the nitty-gritty, and none of those sculpted details actually match up completely 100%. There's the grooves in the same places, but it's different frequency. The little rounds are spaced a little differently. The handle up on top. On Deadpool's, it's bent over to the side a little bit. On Rock and Roll's, goes straight up and down. Deadpool's side is also flipped up, if that's a sight or whatever. Anyway, the G.I. Joe gun doesn't have that. Deadpool's tripod pieces do not flip down. Rock and Roll's does come down and out. And then the ammo box on the side is all molded together, and it's a different sculpt. And again, if you want to simulate him shooting, there's a blast effect for that too. But then there's this gun, and I think I like it the best, mostly because it's not a real world gun. I mean, I like real world guns. I got nothing against them, but it's Deadpool. This feels a little extra. Or maybe it is a real gun, and I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but it doesn't seem like it's kind of sci-fi with the big scope up on top and the oddball stock hanging down and big ammo. Oh, and the tripod on this isn't movable either. This is the gun from the cover of the first issue of the Deadpool 2018 run. It's got some brown and silver, but it doesn't have the kill count on the side like that cover. It does come with a blast effect though, and I'm not plugging the same blast effect into the guns separately. They actually come with their own blast effects. And Deadpool is capable of holding a rifle. For bigger explosion, there is this lit stick of dynamite, and I love that they put the little light effect or the flame effect on the end of the fuse and marked it dynamite. And to top it all off, there is a chimichanga with the logo on the side. What, you thought it was an accident that I left the half unmasked head on there the whole time? Now, come on. Size-wise, Deadpool stands at about 6 3/8 inches, while Doop is about 2 inches tall and floats up to around 5 inches. Here's this figure again we've been comparing to this whole video, the Bucky cap body with the painted on details and the taller boots. And then here's the comic book version, which I refer to as the 90s look because of the costume details. Here's the 2-pack Deadpool with the added articulation, and then Hydra Bob. Here's the scooter version of Deadpool. The harness is more cable in Deadpool era, but then the gauntlets and the boots are the armored look from the 2012 series. And then here is the dog pull and squirrel pull from that same set. Here's big 90s Cable with a casting cave head, and then gaming Cable, or later 90s Cable, or X-Men Cable. He wore this costume in the comics, I think, at some point. But then here's X-Men 97 Cable, which may be my favorite so far, after I do some paint work on it to make it less cartoony, maybe. But I like the size, and I like the look. And then here is the Gamerverse 2-pack Captain America. But then here's the two Maximums I have together. I never got the Hulk. This feels right. I mean, wasn't there a series of Spider-Man and Deadpool? Deadpool and Spider-Man, one or the other? Here is the Marvel Legends Leisure Suit Deadpool and the movie Deadpool, both with custom soft goods on them. And then here is the Medicom Mafex comic book Deadpool and the Sentinel Fighting Armor Deadpool. I'd forgotten that the Mafex was from the same general time frame as this one, just in a different artist style. And then this one is so shiny. For Doop, here is the original Toy Biz Marvel Legends Doop, and here is a Mattel Slimer. And that's the only things I could find to compare to Doop. How about this? A NECA 1990 movie Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Donatello. Maybe that's what the skin tones remind me of a little bit. Or as far as floating Marvel Legends go, here is the Deadpool and Wolverine headpool, or my custom widget. Perfect. For a tiny bit of Playday action, I showed this half unmasked head a minute ago, and I don't remember, was this from the Scooter Deadpool? Maybe? The reds do not match, but there is this darker red version that, again, I don't remember which one this came with. It was in the head tub. Put that on, I'm not sure. Yes, it pops on. Oh, but it sits high. Oh, and the reds don't quite match, but it's close. There's also this unmasked head from a Deadpool with the yellow eyes. It reminds me of that 2012 run, and I'm gonna assume this is the same thing. Yeah, it pops on there. It's a snug fit, but it just sits too high. And I think if I did Dremel it out, it may end up small because here is the head next to it. I don't know. Let's find out with this new handy dandy Dremel I just picked up recently. Ooh, it's got a light. It's so fancy. And this is the bit that I use 99% of the time with the round end. I can get in there and then bore it out to make it hopefully fit the ball joint. And that did nothing. You know what I'm gonna run into? The neck size. See how there's hardly any gap already and it's still gotta come down? I'm going for it anyway. I'm also gonna take some out of here to try to allow more room for the neck to go up in there. Let's see what we got. That's as far as I'm gonna go today. If I really want to, I'll get in there and do some more, but that's not bad. It's possible. Now where's the vacuum attachment? I done made a mess. Logan, you're no longer my friend. Whatever, bub. One dumb thing I realized as I was messing around, earlier I said that the arms were a bit tough to get down to the sides, and they are if you just go from here and push down. Well, they've kind of worn in now. To wear that in, you want to rotate the arm up, and you can see some of the joint. Push it against the body, and then rotate it down. And it'll be closer. It looks a bit better. I know that's probably some common sense to some of you, but it usually takes me a while to figure things out. Finally, I was gonna do a coat of the old trusty Mr. Hobby, Mr. Super Clear matte to knock down the shine, but as I've messed around with this, it's not super shiny. It's got a plastic sheen, but it's not overpowering like we've been seeing with recent figures. There's still a little bit more than the Maximum Spider-Man that I sprayed down. Do I want to do this? With that shine, it makes me think a lot of the parts are leatherish, and I'm okay with that. When it comes to Deadpool, Spider-Man, it's a cloth costume. That's how I think of it, so killing the shine there is not as bad. Oh, to hell with it. Let's do it. And okay, maybe I'm just biased when it comes to a good matte finish, but I do like that a little bit better. It's not a huge difference, but it's noticeable. So at the end of the day, just because I'm happy doesn't mean everybody else is gonna be happy. Oh, I get it. It's another Deadpool in a long line of Deadpools, but as much as I've liked past Deadpools as they've come along, it's always been, oh, this one's slightly better than the last one. And now this one is slightly better than those two. Here's a 14th, better than the previous 13. While I would have liked something not as modern as this, but not as classic as the 90s version, maybe Cable and Deadpool, or maybe something in between, maybe something bigger, maybe something a bit more toned back. I still like the details of this because at the end of the day, it's still Deadpool. It's got the blacks, it's got the reds, it's got the whites and the silvers, it's got holsters and pouches, it's got guns and blades. What else could you ask for besides all the added articulation that they put into this? It does what I need it to do, and I'm okay with that. But what are we talking about accessories for? Let's talk about the main event, the main character in this pack, Doop. Like I said, a dumbbell at the neck would have been icing on this cake, but it still looks fantastic. But also looks very, very alone, Hasbro. Come on. Am I gonna have to make a You Go Girl? And an Orphan? And a Venus de Milo? Hell, just go down the list anywhere. Dead Girl, yeah. I guess after I finish these Marauders, I may have to work on some Ecstatics and some X-Force. Besides it being another Deadpool, it's also Maximum. It's under that title, where they do put quite a few accessories. I would have liked to have seen, what was I looking at a minute ago? Oh, relaxed hands. I know it's Deadpool, he's holding stuff, he's gesturing and everything, but another couple of hands. A completely unmasked head, an updated one that actually fits. I could probably think of a few more weapons. All in all, Doop, Deadpool, bunch of hands, weapons, alternate head. Doesn't seem too bad for the price, but you may feel completely different. Overpriced. I don't need another Deadpool. Then it's time to just move along, to pass on this. And that's okay. I swear, it is. It's up to you. I'm just showing you what you get. I'm not trying to tell you how to feel, how you should feel. I can only convey how I feel. You do you. Bye.